So I just finished my first playthrough of the Halo Infinite campaign, and this little baby and I have been through a lot. What a game. What a magnificent game Halo Infinite is. Microsoft shot me out the review code so I could play it and talk about it with you guys. Obviously, Halo Infinite's multiplayer is freely available to anybody, and so lots and lots of people, including myself, have been playing the multiplayer. But the campaign is either attached to Game Pass, so if you have a Game Pass subscription, it unlocks for you on December 8th is the release date, or you can buy it if you don't have a Game Pass account, and then you'll still be able to play free-to-play multiplayer. And this campaign is a much different experience than previous Halo games in a lot of ways, and in a lot of ways, it really made me feel like it was a time machine, like I just shot right back to 2001 and I was playing the first Halo game on the launch Xbox, the first launch Xbox, and it was so creepy and mysterious and cool and just like sensory overload. The visuals are absolutely outstanding in this game. An incredible looking game with beautiful lighting effects and all kinds of incredible details that go off for miles and miles in the draw distance. We're exploring this shattered Halo ring, the Zeta Halo, and we're trying to figure out what the Banished are up to. And I'm not going to go too deep into the storyline. We know that the Banished are a part of this. We know that we meet the Harbinger, and we're going to be, encountering some creepy ghouls and some big bosses and lots of enemies to take out in lots of interesting ways. The one thing that I will say about the story is that this definitely calls back and honors all of Halo history. You're going to see a lot of echoes and a lot of scene snippets that take you back in different ways to previous Halo experiences, which I thought was quite wonderful. And it's also tastefully done and elegantly done. You're always in the boots of Master Chief in this game. You're not going to be taken off and playing as a different character. And the way that the structure is that you're going to be in lots of facilities, some glossy coated, super high-tech looking facilities. You're going to be taking down Banished in their different grounds as well and blowing up their fuel depots and reactors and things like that with some mega explosions, which is always fun to do. But you also are going to free roam around the Zeta Halo. You're going to be off on an adventure and exploring in a million different ways, and you're going to find little secrets and other encounters, and you're going to be rescuing Marines. It feels as expansive to play today in 2021 after a couple of decades now of open world experiences that the original Halo kind of touched on and evoked, like it gave us the sense that things would stretch on forever. But of course, when you play those original Halo games, they're excellent still. You feel Bungie creating that funnel to sort of get you into the corridor spaces, and then it's a little bit more wide open and stuff. On Zeta Halo and Halo Infinite, it definitely does feel a lot more infinite. There are boundaries, and you can, fall off of the Halo ring, and you'll see areas that you're going to have to circumnavigate around to, unless you can pick up a Banshee and fly around to different spots on the map, which is great. But it feels much bigger and much more expansive in a Far Cry type direction, although it's not quite as big and open worldy as that. And what's really impressive about this vast open playground that 343 has built for us is just how solid everything feels. Every tree feels like it's really there and constructed properly. Every rock face, every surface, all of the buildings, all the facilities and things that you'll encounter along the way, all the caves that you'll be crawling into with their beautiful light surfacing and stuff like that. It's just outstanding. It feels so slick. And as incredible as all of the visuals are and the fidelity of everything, the light reflecting on the surfaces and the color effects and the smoke effects and the explosions, all of it is just visually just incredible. It is really taken to another level by the audio design in this game. The music, of course, is gorgeous, evoking a lot of the classic Halo themes and music that Marty O'Donnell did back in the day, but all of the new stuff that embellishes it and takes us into new territory is wonderful.
Our battle ends here. Bear witness.
And then the, voice work by everybody and all of the incredible sound effects, all of the chatter from the grunts and everything, just insane. And I really felt like I was transported. I was sitting with my OLED screen and my, my custom-made Xbox controller, and I was just I felt so spoiled by this. It's just so sumptuous, gorgeous to look at, wonderful audio, incredible, impeccable controls, and just this fantastic world to explore and to survive, because the challenge is there, and the enemies are relentless. And the thing too is that you'll beat the game, and there's still a lot more to play in single player. You can still go back on the Zeta Halo, and there's a lot more enemies to take out, and lots of little beacons and icons and things like that you may have skipped past along the way. And one of the cool things too is that you can, like a lot of the open world shooter type experiences there, you can obviously unlock some fast travel, and you can call in for reinforcements and change your weaponry at certain places, and then there's certain bases and things like that you're going to want to take down, and you're rewarded all the way along for that. And it's just this great blending of classic Halo structure with this new exploration mechanism that 343 put in there. That extra time that Microsoft gave to this game, and the millions and millions of dollars that has been poured into the development of this game, it has not been wasted. I would say that, some of the facial animations and things like that, we've got superior looking visuals in other games, but in terms of an environment and in terms of like the constructs, the world building of Halo Infinite is just magnificent. It's just really fun to explore. It's awesome to jump into the water. It's awesome to jump through the caverns and the caves and to go into those buildings. And there's so much traversal in this game where there is no loading. You'll travel for miles and you'll be outside for a long time, and then you'll go into a building, and it's got all kinds of snaky corridors and things like that. And then eventually you will come into a bigger base where you have to get into elevators, and you'll have to load into that sequence. And you encounter this new AI pal along the way that helps you hack into all kinds of stuff. And the weapons too, that's part of the playground experience as well. As we're discovering in multiplayer, it's just so polished and effortlessly fun, and that exists in the campaign as well. You're constantly running out of ammunition, but every weapon is cool, and so you're doing this juggle with all of these different laser type weapons or plasma type weapons or the hard light type weapons or kinetic bullet type weapons as well. There are these little reload stations that you'll be hunting and scouring for, and what they've added on top of the weapons, kind of lifting off on some of the augmentations that Halo games have had in the past, not to mention all the modifiers and the skulls and things that you can pick up. They've added a new toolkit, kind of Batman style. They've added this grapple shot mechanic, and the grapple shot is just fantastic. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play a shooter now without the grapple shot. You get it a little bit when you play in multiplayer. It's like this power-up that you pick up every once in a while. You can use it for a bit and then it runs out of ammunition, but in Halo Infinite's campaign, that grapple shot becomes your best friend, and it's a way to quickly zip around the battlefield to get away from big lumbering bosses that are hurtling all kinds of energy weapons at you and taking huge swipes at you. You've got to zip and get the hell out of the way quickly or jump up vertically. It's just incredible. It's so empowering, and it's so fun, and it kind of crafted this weird concoction in my mind. It's like this mix of Batman and Spider-Man and Iron Man with all of the weaponry that Master Chief has, but now he's got this awesome ability to just get around town super quick. I love that. You can also drop an energy shield, which we've seen before in Halo and lots of other shooters before. A very useful item because there are some enemies that are completely disguised and invisible, so you can drop down a little beacon that pops up and illuminates where all the enemies are. And you've also got the ability to just tap down on the D-pad and you can kind of see where you've got to go, because sometimes it is a little bit confusing. Some of the corridors and some of the rooms start to look a little bit the same, and the vast openness of the Zeta Halo can be a little overwhelming as well. So I appreciated that this was a massive, huge game to play, but a very easy one to get lost in, a very easy one to play. And the challenge, I played it on regular mode. I didn't bump it up to hardcore mode or anything like that. The challenge was great. It was great. It was really fun, but it didn't feel impossible. There were a few encounters that I had along the way that got a little bit frustrating, but I knew that if I took my time and got my strategy together and definitely used that grapple shot effectively, I was going to be able to loop around the enemies that was kicking my ass and take them out eventually. And that's what happens. Sometimes you will get overwhelmed by grunts and flying little creatures that are shooting laser beams at you, and all of these interesting designs on all these beasts and creatures. Some of them are like definitely iconic elements of pop culture now, because Halo's been around for so long, making so much money and pleasing so many of us. And that's kind of how I felt about this. 343 has been pretty transparent about the fact that there's still more to come with Halo Infinite. There's going to be the Forge and some enhancements to the core single-player stuff, but also lots more stuff coming with multiplayer. But man, this is a pretty remarkable launch for this game. The only thing that I would say about the game is that I wish it shocked me a little bit more, because it does follow as expansive and cool and awe-inspiring as it is to look at the vista and climb up on a giant rock face and look at all the area that you can travel to. It's amazing that this is all yours in Halo Infinite. The game does kind of stick fairly close to the source and the familiar that we have come to expect out of a Halo experience. Now, I think a lot of people are going to welcome that, because there were some not very successful deviations, I think, with Halo 4 and 5, but this game feels like it's right out of the heart of Bungie. You know, it feels like Bungie helped to craft this. Not completely abandoning the stuff that 343 has already worked on by any means, but it feels very true to the original source. It feels like classic Halo. And I think a lot of people are going to love that. I just want a little bit more of a shock, you know, because Master Chief is a very interesting character. He's such a valorous, wonderful, will stop at nothing chivalrous soldier. But I want to know more about the character, and I want to be shocked a little bit more about what drives him. The game doesn't go far enough with that. There's definitely some emotional beats and some lovely kind of touches that humanize Master Chief, perhaps more than we've ever seen this character. But I feel like there's even more that the game can dive into. And who knows, maybe that might be part of where 343 is going to take us, especially as we're leading into the Halo series. And I feel like this is a long road ahead for this game. It is an absolute stunner of an experience. And, you know, if you strip away all the story stuff and all the expectations there and all of the familiarity and all the baggage, good and bad, that comes along with a Halo release, this is just a hell of a fun game to play. It's awesome in multiplayer. Every time I load it up, I've got a smile on my face, and it's really hard to walk away and put the controller down. And I felt that way with the campaign. And the thing that I would say about playing the campaign, and I say this quite often when I'm reviewing games, is I'm trying to kind of speed through it and soak up all of the data and get the information so I can come back and talk about it with you guys. And I feel like I would love this game even more than I loved it if I slowed down and just played it a couple hours a night and just, you know, savored it, because it's stupendous. It's an incredible achievement. I'll continue playing it. I'm definitely going to play this campaign again. It makes me also want to dive back in and play all the Halo shooters again as well. I think you're going to be very, very happy with Halo Infinite if you are a Halo fan. I loved it. I just loved playing this game. It felt weird to be playing it and not sharing it, because I think what's about to happen is the world is going to discover this and fall in love with it and be freaking out about it, just like we have been with the multiplayer. And there's just going to be a ton of people sharing clips and talking about it, and the chatter's going to be big.
What's she talking about, Chief? Is everyone trying to kill you?
It kind of seems like it.
Oh, wait. You're being sarcastic. He's fun. I like him.
This is a big, very, very successful, wonderful shooter that completely lives up to the Halo franchise. I would give it a 10, but I still wanted one big shock kind of moment, you know, something that I fully just knocked me on my ass and I wasn't expecting out of left field, you know, and that doesn't quite happen. There are some great shocks and some wonderfully orchestrated moments that really hit, but there wasn't that, like, for me at least, that, oh my God, like I just didn't expect that thing to happen. Still, I'm going to be playing this for months. I can't wait to see what 343 has got up their sleeve with this game, because, you know, they're not done. It's incredible. And if you've got an Xbox, either generation or PC, any means to play this game, you got to do so as quickly as you can. I'm going to give Halo Infinite a 9.5 out of 10.